And welcome back to Mr. Holloway's Foundational Python Skills Series. In this video, we're going to cover shorthand conditional statements and compound conditional statements. So let's just jump right into it. And also, if you like the video, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Class is now in session. All right, so in the last video, we covered conditional statements. And in this video, we're going to cover compound conditional statements and shorthand, but let's cover shorthand first. So let's do a quick conditional statement. I'm just going to set this here. I'm going to do y is equal to 2, and these are going to be very simple examples. So I'm going to say if x is less than y, print hello world. And so this is going to evaluate to true and everything will be okay. So let's go ahead and do that. And so here, boom, not a problem. All right, so we get hello world, this evaluates to true. Well, in many cases, if you have if you only have one line of code, so let's say it's a very simple program like we have here, and you don't have like all sorts of code inside of here. Like, so I'm just going to do this just for example's sake. If I were to do that, okay, that's multiple lines of code. But in the case where you only have one line of code, you can do what's called a shorthand if statement, and you can just write it all in one line. So you do it in Python by simply doing this. Just put it all on one line, and then there you go. Okay, because this is the do something. So this is what we're going to execute if this is true. So this is called a shorthand version of this. It's useful. It's in many other languages. In Python, this is Python's version. Now, and let me see. Let me just kind of label this. So this would be the shorthand version. Okay, version of if. Now there is a version where you can actually do if else in this. And let me show you how you do that. You just basically do it in one line. So what I'm going to do here is just copy the cut that, and then I'm going to say here, and then I'm going to do my else. So I can just do else. We'll say print false. We'll just false. Do it like that. Okay, and so now let me get rid of that. And so now this is just a shorthand version of writing an if else. In this case, we're doing print. So this is the condition. This is the execute, what we're going to execute if it's true. This is the condition, and this is the else condition. So in this case, if we just keep it the way it is, it's going to print hello world. But now if we make this false by changing this to greater than, watch what's going to print out. Let's go ahead and run, and we should get false. All right, so we get false. And so this is just a shorthand version. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to use it. But generally speaking, you may see something like this out there in the wild if you're evaluating code or doing something like that. And it's pretty helpful. It's just shorthand. It doesn't really matter. You can use either or and it's still going to work, but just wanted to show you guys that. Now the next thing I want to talk about is a compound statement. So let me get rid of this, and actually better yet, I'll just leave this on the screen here, and let me leave the other version of that on the screen as well so that you can see. Let me put this up here. We're going to do this. We'll do this, so at least you can have both versions on the screen so you can see. And we'll leave that, and we'll go ahead and comment this out. All right, now let's go ahead and focus. I'm going to move this down here. Let's go ahead and focus on a compound conditional statement. So compound conditional statements are things like and or. So for example, an English language version would be, hey, if it's raining today and it's cold, grab a coat and an umbrella, or grab a coat. If it's raining today or it's windy, do something. Okay, so we're going to test these conditions. And so essentially we have an and we have an or. Okay, so we're going to look at how that works. All right, so let's do this. Let's say if, and let me bring in another, I'm just going to bring in another one. So we'll say 3. All right, so we're going to talk about the and first. All right, so the and condition requires that both conditions are true in order for the condition to execute. So let's set this where both conditions are true. So we're going to say if x is less than y, so is 0 less than 2, and y is less than z. Okay, same thing now. We're just going to go ahead and say print true. And let me just go ahead and set up the rest of this, the else, and we'll say print false. Okay. So here we have a compound statement. We're testing multiple statements now. So if x is less than y and y is less than z, print true. So let's see what happens here. And we're going to run. And we get true because it is true that x is less than y. So 0 is less than 2 and 2 is less than 3, which is y is less than 2, less than that. Now let me go ahead and just change this and watch what happens. Remember, with an and, both conditions have to be true. Okay. So if I were to take this, go ahead and stop, and now this is true, but this is actually false. Okay. So that's why we get false. All right. So let me go ahead and let's change this to an or. All right. So with or statements, either condition can be true in order for it to execute. Right. But if neither is true, it won't execute. So let's go over that logic. So now let's change this back. So we actually know, so we're going to run this, and both are actually true. So x is less than y and y is less than z. So we get run. Well, that's easy because we're going to get true here. And again, the first condition, x is less than y. This is true and this is true. But let's make one of these false. So let's make this false. Okay, and I'm going to click run. And now we still get true because remember, with an or condition, either condition can be true. Now, if both of these are false, they're not going to run. So let's make this one false. I'm just going to make this one false. Equals, and then we'll just change this also to make both false. And if we were to run this now, we get false because, again, with an or statement, if neither of these conditions are true, we're going to end up having to print this. All right. So it's essentially like saying, when it comes to compound statements, it says, hey, you can go to the school dance if you have $5 and a school ID. You can come in. If we're going to use the and condition. If we're going to use the or condition, it's like saying you can come to the school dance if you have a school ID or $5. So you need either one. So in the and condition, both conditions need to be true. With an or, only one needs to be true. All right. All right. The last one I want to cover is the not condition. Okay. So the not condition is used often, and let me go ahead and set this up. So let me just go ahead and get rid of this. And we're going to come up with the not condition. So in the not condition, we're going to test. This is if let's just do one right off the bat that we know. So we know this is true. So if x is less than y, okay, we're going to print true. So let's get true first. So let's set everything up so we get true. All right, now with the not condition, we're testing if this is not true. So we're saying, is this not true? So we're going to go ahead and run it, and let's see what we get. Do we get true or false? Let me go back. Okay, so we get false. So this is saying that x is less than y. And x is less than y is actually true. It is less than y, okay? But in this case, if we want it to actually to print true, we're going to have to change this so that this is not true. All right, so we're asking, is this not true? And so now if we run it, right, so this is not true. So what we're saying is, and let's just read this logically, 0 is greater than y. Okay, 0 is not greater than y, which is true. So we're saying, is this condition true? Well, it's actually true. 0 is not greater than y, and that's why we get print true. All right, so I'm going to stop this video. I think this is pretty much all we need here for conditional statements. If you missed the first video, you can go back to my first video on conditional statements. If you like the video, go ahead and give me a like, as well as subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you have some other things that you've discovered with conditional statements. I will see you in the next video, where we're going to talk about lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. Class is now dismissed.